Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, today we're actually going to be checking out some Battlefield 4 gameplay. And just very quickly, before we hop into the actual commentary, just want to run past you guys that I do live stream every single day over on Twitch. And the link to all that stuff is down in the description. If you want to watch me play live Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline, sometimes I play Battlefield 5, on the occasion some Black Ops Cold War, and also every single Sunday or every other Sunday depending on how the month is going and stuff like that, we do an old school Call of Duty stream every Sunday where we start off with Call of Duty 2 and we work all the way up to Black Ops 4. So if you guys are interested in any of that type of stuff, make sure you guys check out my live stream. Link to that stuff is down in the description. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about a very controversial topic that's going on with Battlefield 2042. A lot of the community right now is actually discussing this, and they're pretty split right now. I gotta admit, nobody is 100% positive on an answer on if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to go over why I personally think it's amazing. And that's the specialist system coming into Battlefield 2042. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a little while now, you probably already know what specialists are because I made multiple videos about them in the past, but today I'm going to go really dive deep in my personal feelings on why I think it's an outstanding idea to introduce this specific system into Battlefield 2042. But if you don't know what they are, basically the specialist system in this game is going to allow you to pretty much use any gun that you possibly want per class. Now, if you think back in the day, like you're watching right here in Battlefield 4, you have 4 specific classes. You have Assault class, Engineer, Support, and Recon, and each one of these classes has a very specific lineup of weapons. You know, Assault goes ahead and has ARs, Engineer with the SMGs, Support with the LMGs, and Recon with the sniper rifles. Now, in Battlefield 4, there was actually a nice unique feature that allowed you to use carbine rifles despite the class that you're on, and I believe shotguns as well. So if you were a Support player and you didn't want to use an LMG, you can go ahead and use a carbine rifle, which was an assault rifle. So you could still, you know, branch out and use ammo crates or recon abilities and stuff like that and use an AR. But in my personal opinion, they weren't going to be as good as the initial ARs from the assault category. And also, that's still not that much variety in the game. You're still only cut off to specifically carbine rifles. But in Battlefield 2042, you can use every gun in the game. No matter if it's a carbine, an assault rifle, an SMG, an LMG, a sniper rifle, you can use whatever you want. And you could pick whatever specialists you want. So you can choose if you want ammunition as a support class, or if you want to be a medic, you could choose to be a recon as usual. And of course, these classes are named differently. They have different attributes as well. It's not going to be like your traditional medic, and your support class isn't going to be like your typical support class. But at the end of the day, the things that we know aren't going to be too distant. It's not going to be like this is a completely different vibe of a Battlefield game. It's still going to be the same classes, I guess I should say. It's just they're handled differently now. Now, half of the community is extremely worried about the specialist system because they think that if this is introduced into Battlefield 2042, well, not if, it is 100% going to be introduced into Battlefield 2042. So, since this new specialist system is coming into the game, people think that everybody is just going to be maining one weapon. It's going to turn into a Call of Duty scenario where everybody finds the best weapon in the game, the meta weapon, and then that's all you see every single time. Because now, instead of being forced to use a specific weapon when you want a specific type of gadget, now you can use any weapon with whatever gadget you want to use, which will allow players to be able to play a medic, a support player, a recon, anything they possibly want. They could play and still be able to main one exact gun that everybody is going to abuse. Compared to Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1, when you need someone to take out tanks, they have to switch the gun they're using to get the gadget. If you need a medic, once again, they have to switch the gun they're using in order to get the gadget. And you need these specific gadgets in order to be successful in a Battlefield game. You know, if your team all denies to use them, they're just going to simply lose because the other team is probably more coordinated than they are. So yes, I completely understand where you guys are coming from with the fears that this is just going to form really intense metas when it comes to Battlefield 2042. But this is my concern. This is why I think that the old system was much worse than what's coming into Battlefield 2042. Because yes, it might be good to force players to use specific weapons for a specific gadget, but you have to understand some players just don't care about winning. Some players could give two craps. They will just gladly main medics or they'll main an engineer just because they get a specific gun they want. And the majority of the time, a lot of these players will play like they'll play support classes. There's support players all the time that I see that don't even carry an ammo box. They just pick support class for the other secondary gadgets, and you try to get ammo from them, they don't even have it. A lot of the time, people do not play their roles. They play the role for the gun that is in the class. They don't care if it's a medic. They don't care if they're going to be able to take out tanks. They don't care that they're supposed to be dropping ammunition. They see an LMG, or they see an assault rifle, or they see an SMG, and that's the class they pick. Or they see a rocket launcher that they can shoot at walls to blow up, or they see mortars, or they see noob tubes. That's what they all gravitate towards. They don't gravitate towards the fact that, oh, I could be a medic and I can heal a bunch of my teammates. Or, oh, I'm supposed to be an engineer. My job is to take out helicopters and tanks. Oh, my job is supposed to be support. I'm supposed to drop ammunition, which never happens. It's just, it doesn't work. The old formula clearly does not work. And EA Dice even went out and said that with statistical facts, people pick classes for the weapons, not because of the gadgets anymore. So let's say it's the beginning of the match, and we were playing with a bunch of sweats. Everybody chose medic because medic has all the fun assault rifles and stuff like that, and they can give themselves their own health, yada yada this, yada yada that. Let's say that's how it goes down. But mid-game, there is an overwhelming amount of tanks to the point where they even captured our own team's tanks. So the enemy team has twice the amount of tanks that they should have. In this scenario, statistically proven by EA Dice themselves, players in that lobby will gladly get destroyed. They will get wiped clean by a team full of tanks and never switch to any class that has an RPG, specifically because the medic class has the weapons they want. Again, I completely understand where you guys are coming from, where you don't want the specialist system. You don't want to see people maining one weapon. But I prefer winning in Battlefield more than I do in Call of Duty. Call of Duty, I can understand. You know, it's mostly a KD game. A lot of people hop into Call of Duty just to even practice their aim. So to see a bunch of people maining one weapon, it doesn't affect anything in the game except boredom. It makes me bored because I'm tired of seeing the same weapon over and over and over again. But in Battlefield, team play is key. You need to have a variety of multiple different classes. If everybody's a medic, you're going to lose. If everybody's an engineer, you're going to lose. If everybody's a support, you're going to lose. It has to be an equal balance. You need to have engineers so you can take out tanks. But at the same time, you need medics so you can pick up the engineers if they go down so they can continuously keep shooting down the tanks. You need support players so those engineers can get more ammunition along with everybody else in the game. You need recon so you can spot specific enemies or helicopters so engineers can lock on and give spawn beacons for your teammates to push up to OBJs. Everybody has a role, and when you lack in one of those roles, your team is at a massive disadvantage. And like I just said, players don't care in Battlefield. They are perfectly fine being at a disadvantage. As long as they're allowed to use the weapons they enjoy, they do not mind getting completely pummeled. So this is where the new system finally comes in, and this is why I really am excited to try it out, test it out, and see if it's actually going to work for the Battlefield community. Because now, like I just said, you can use any weapon you want, so you don't have to look at a specific class and only choose that class because it has the weapon that you want to use. You can use anything you want. So let's say, like I said, the same scenario. Everybody wants to be medics because they want to revive their teammates and save tickets in the beginning of the game. You know, they don't want to lose or get the lower hand of the match very early. So everybody's reviving, everybody's being a medic. But again, the enemy team stacks up on a bunch of tanks. They steal a bunch of our team's tanks. Now it's a bad situation for us because they have a bunch of heavy armor. So what do you do now? Now, everybody could gladly switch to a rocket launcher because they don't have to change the weapon. No longer do they have to change from their SCAR over to a carbine or a SMG in order to take out a tank. They can easily just go ahead and switch over to an RPG, keep the same exact weapon that they're using. They could be using an LMG for all I care, and they could keep that LMG on while switching over to an RPG to take care of the heavy armor. Honestly, it sounds fantastic to me. And like I just said, I understand where everybody's coming from with the variety of the game. That's what makes Call of Duty so bad in my personal opinion, is everybody uses one weapon. They see what everybody uses in the CDL, they're like, oh, that's how competitive players are playing? Let's take that over to the casual side. So now all you see in Black Ops Cold War is Krigs and 74Us and sometimes LC-10s. That's it. That's all you get to witness. And at that point, it gets boring. I could barely play more than 2 matches because there's no variety. You don't see any of the other 10, 20 plus weapons that are in the game. All the cool things that you can actually experiment with, none of that is being used because everybody wants to use the meta. And this could happen in Battlefield 2042. I understand the chances, but I don't think it's going to happen because Battlefield is usually typically good with balancing. I know it's a little rough for a couple of months, maybe even a year plus when it comes to balancing and making sure the game is alright, especially with the bugs and glitches. But, I mean, look back to games like this, Battlefield 4. I can use every weapon in this game and have a good time. Battlefield 1, for example, as well. Pretty much all the guns in that game are pretty viable. It is a World War I shooter, so a lot of the variety isn't weapons that people will really enjoy. I think that's why a lot of people didn't buy Battlefield 1, because it wasn't modern enough for them. But people who enjoy the era don't mind the weaponry in that game. World War II, pretty much all the SMGs are viable. The majority of the assault rifles are really viable in that game. You can use anything. The LMGs are a little bad, I would say, because they made, LMGs and mounted LMGs. I forget the MGs, yeah, the MGs, and then the other ones that you can actually run around with that you don't have to mount. I didn't care for the LMGs in Battlefield 5, but still, the variety between the rifles and the SMGs and snipers were really good. EA DICE knows how to balance out their game. So, in my personal opinion, this change is not going to hurt the game when it comes to seeing the same thing over and over again. I think it's only going to make the experience better. It's going to allow more variety in the game, and when people see a role that needs to be picked up, such as if nobody's dropping ammo in over half of these games that we play nowadays in Battlefield, nobody picks support, nobody drops ammo. We go whole games without any ammunition, and if the person is using a support class, usually he's using mortars or sitting in the back of the map somewhere, completely away from the fight, so he's not even benefiting or giving you ammo anyways. He's just sitting in the back of the map, not helping the team at all. But, like I said, nowadays, you can still pick ammunition, but if you want an SMG or an AR, you could do that. If you want to be a medic, you can have an LMG. If you want to have some recon attributes and have an SMG and run a gun with recon stuff, you can do that. It's all possible now, and it's amazing. I'm really excited to see how this works out. But guys, thanks so much for tuning into this commentary. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new and you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, if you want to chat with me, there's two ways to do so. I have a Twitter and a Discord. Both those links are down in the description. And also, if you want to catch me live stream some video games, I do over on Twitch. Link to that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.